Welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. This is Jason Garish, and thanks for tuning in. If my voice sounds a little bit rough, it's probably due to watching the Raiders win last night and get into the playoffs. So, I was probably a little too vocal during certain points, but yeah, it was a good win. Any win's a good win. Gets us into playoffs since first time since 2016, so that's something that's really cool, and hopefully gets the Derek Carr naysayers off of his back. Josh Jacobs had an awesome game yesterday. Was earning his money, thankfully. A lot of ways the Chargers kind of handed us that one. Calls like the Chargers head coach going for it on 4th and 1 on the 18th. On their own 18th yard line. I'm not sure if that's the most sound coaching strategy, but yeah, that in addition to the slew of holding and pass interference calls on the Chargers defense kind of helped out because their quarterback Herbert had a really good game and he looked great in that game, man. But the rest of the team was just kind of falling apart around him, it looked like, and some really bad coaching decisions. But we'll take it. And like I said, first time since I think 2016 that the Raiders are going to be in the playoffs. And next wild card weekend is going to be Cincinnati, and I think the Raiders can beat Cincinnati. Past that, it's going to be difficult, but I think they should beat Cincinnati. I don't see them getting past the Chiefs. Titans, maybe. I hate to say it. Sorry, because I'm rooting for the Titans also. But when it comes down to it, Titans have too many flaws. They keep pulling out wins, and I don't know how. I mean, I've watched their games, and man, like I said, I'm rooting for them. But some of those games, kind of like the Raiders, you don't know how the heck they pulled them out, kind of thing. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun year. Thankfully, good to enjoy football again. But yeah, like I said, if my voice is a little rough, it's probably from yelling at the TV last night. So yeah, and my son got to watch a lot of it, so that was pretty cool. But of course, in typical Raider fashion this year, it had to be drama. It had to come down to overtime and wing it with a field goal. So yeah, would anything else this season be appropriate? I mean, after all the scandal with John Gruden and unfortunately John Madden dying and the Henry Ruggs scandal where he unfortunately killed somebody in a drunken driving incident and killed a young woman and her dog. When you add all that up, man, it's hard to look past the resiliency of the Raiders franchise and team because they've been through a lot and they managed to come through, and it's good to see them make the playoffs, especially with the controversy and the passing of John Madden. It's kind of a healing thing, and I hope they continue to go forward into it and do well. I really do. I think it's going to be fun. If my heart can take it, I'm already on high blood pressure medication. I think that's probably because of the Raiders at this point. But yeah, like I said, Chargers made some really bad decisions. I mean, just some really poor decisions, and especially on the coaching end of things, I thought, and they kind of handed it away because I really thought they had that game wrapped up. But then again, Derek Carr missed a couple of wide open receivers that he shouldn't have. So it wasn't Derek Carr's best game, but he did enough to win, and Jacobs kind of helped the rest of it, and our defense with Mad Max Crosby leading the way really showed up and did a good job. Because like I said, Herbert, whatever you pronounce the QB's name for the Chargers, really had a good game, I thought, and he looked good. But just wasn't enough. He was getting pounded all night, thank God. Somebody was on top of him all night, thankfully, because they had to be. it didn't look like the Chargers secondary could cover the Raiders receivers though. A lot, like I said, a lot of holding calls, a lot of pass interference calls, and probably some that could have been called. It seemed like every play they were holding either Darren Waller or Hunter Renfrow, or both. It seemed like every single play they were holding them. So they probably could have called holding on every single play, it seemed like. But I don't know if that's a sound defensive strategy from their coach's side. But like I said, there were some questionable coaching calls on their behalf. But a win is a win, and I'm happy about that. Just looking forward to the Bengals, and I'm hoping that we can take them out, because that'd be really cool. Unfortunately, during the game, I found out that Bob Saget died, so having another death early into 2022. Hate to hear it, but unfortunately, it is what it is. That would be interesting to find out what, because he was relatively young. It'd be interesting to see what the cause of death was on there. They say that there's no foul play suspected, but that's a little early to be losing somebody like that. Hey, let's get into wrestling talk. That's kind of why we're here. But like I said, I'm still a little stoked about the win from last night. But let's kind of get down to business. Was it Dynamite? Yeah. Actually, no, it wasn't Dynamite. It was this Saturday with the Battle of the Belts. Cody Rhodes was supposed to defend his TNT championship and couldn't because of COVID protocol. Now, whether that means he has COVID or was exposed to someone with COVID, I don't know. But ended up being Sammy Guevara against Dustin Rhodes, and really good match, and a lot of respect between those two guys. And personally, I would rather watch that anyway, because I'd rather watch Dustin Rhodes than Cody. But so the Sammy Guevara is the interim TNT champion now. I'd like to know what the heck that means. If anybody can tell me what that means, I'd appreciate it, because what is an interim champion? Does he hold the belt until Cody comes back? Does he face off with Cody for the championship when Cody comes back? So I'd like to know just what that means, because I don't know. I mean, interim. So when Cody comes back next week, does he just take the belt from Sammy Guevara? How does that even work? And they didn't really explain on the program what that means. So if anybody has a clue what that means, please leave a comment down below. I'd like to know what the heck that means and what their plans are. And if you want to be a real conspiracy theorist, you might think that this is all part of an angle, like everything else. Is this a work? Was this in the plans to set up a feud with Cody Rhodes and with Sammy Guevara and Cody Rhodes? I don't know. I mean, I don't think so. That'd be kind of. I think that would be kind of crappy to use COVID as part of an angle, but I don't see AEW being above it. I mean, but yeah, I'm hoping it's not part of an angle. I'm hoping, as much as I don't want to see Cody Rhodes get sick, but I think that would be pretty cheap to use that as part of an angle for a feud. Speaking of AEW, Jade Cargill just won the TBS championship. Some controversy surrounding this because of the recent comments by Big Swole and the kind of Twitter back and forth exchange between her and Tony Khan, where Tony Khan said some real kind of obnoxious, immature, asinine things, even though he's pretty much right for the majority of it. The way he presented himself was horrible and unprofessional and possibly slanderous. I mean, could even lead to a lawsuit if Big Swole is smart. But even though I don't agree with what Big Swole said, she presented it, I should say, in a much more eloquent and professional manner. So it makes me wonder if that affected the booking of this. Not to take anything away from Jade. She looks like $1 million, and she's pretty good in the ring, considering that she's only been at it about a year. She looks great in the ring, considering that. But you wonder, though, did they put that on there strictly to appease naysayers of saying that AEW isn't diverse enough, doesn't have a belt on anybody of that's not Caucasian. I don't know. I mean, only time will tell. We'll probably find that out much, much later in a shoot interview. But it's bad because it does take away. If it was originally booked to turn out that way, it definitely takes away from Jade's tenure as a champion, because it makes people wonder if that was racially motivated. And that, once again, I'd love to hear what people's comments are on that. So if you can leave a comment, I would love to hear about that. If there's anybody that's in the know within the organization, can anonymously comment on that. That would be interesting. But it does raise speculation. I have to kind of take my own personal feelings out of the mix, because I am a fan of Ruby Soho's, and I would have much rather seen the belt on her, just because I think she's a more competent wrestler, not because of any stupid motivation other than that. Just I think she's a better wrestler, and I think she's much, much over with the fans, and I think she would put on some killer matches defending that title, and I think that would have been great to see her get that. But maybe this sets up a feud down the road between Jade and Ruby. I mean, that would be really cool to see too. I think that would be really good. So maybe that sets this up. But the whole controversy with the Big Swole and Tony Khan, unfortunately, kind of taints this championship, and I hate to see that, because the wrestlers are putting the work in and they're doing their job, and it took some immature comments from Tony Khan. Wow, like I said, I'm really tired, and my voice is not doing too great from last night. So Tony Khan, let's try that again. But yeah, that's unfortunate that his comments would kind of put a taint on that. One other, getting out of AEW, one other really cool thing that I'm seeing is WWE is entering Mickie James to compete in the Women's Royal Rumble. I mean, that's something I don't think I've seen from WWE. The closest thing that I can think of was the deal that they made between they made a deal with Impact, I should say, to let Mickie compete, because she has no affiliation with AEW. Sorry, I don't know if I said that, but that's going to be interesting, because the last time I saw something like that was the whole Hall of Fame thing with Christian and Ric Flair. When Ric Flair was being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, they made an agreement with Impact, because he was under contract with Impact at the time, or I should say TNA Wrestling at the time, to show up for the Hall of Fame appearance, and they kind of switched places with Christian. Christian then inducted, I want to say, Kurt Angle into the TNA Hall of Fame. So that's one of the few times I've seen communication between WWE and TNA or Impact. The other time I saw it was when they got some footage for I think it was AJ Styles' documentary. They had interviews with Dixie Carter and showed some footage, TNA footage. So it's been done before, but it's extremely rare, and we're kind of setting a precedence here, because we're breaking down that barrier, that forbidden wall, and I wonder if this is going to continue to happen. You rarely see WWE work with any other wrestling organizations. Usually the contracts are are exclusive to WWE. So that's going to be interesting. This is going to be, I wonder if this is going to be a one and done type deal and she's out the door, because if I'm not mistaken, Mickie James is affiliated not only with Impact but with NWA also. So that's two organizations that they're kind of getting in bed with. So that could be kind of interesting to see how they handle that. I'm thinking this is going to be a one and done. She's going to show up, get in the Royal Rumble, get eliminated, and then disappear again. That's my thoughts on it. I think it's a one night only, but my question then in turn, what does Impact and or NWA get out of the deal? So that's the $1 million question, I think, right there. But that's going to be really cool. If I'm not mistaken, Royal Rumble, once again, getting back, Royal Rumble is set for January 29th, if I'm not mistaken. But that's going to be interesting to follow, because I'd like to see what happens there. Another thing I noticed happening is, which is kind of a big deal, kind of not, I don't know where they're going with this, was a bunch of ROH talent showing up at Impact. Their pay-per-view, Hard to Kill, there was kind of a little mini Ring of Honor invasion. Now, can we even call it a Ring of Honor invasion, though, because Ring of Honor has released all of their talent? I mean, they did defend the Ring of Honor Championship at the pay-per-view. Once again, the Impact pay-per-view, Hard to Kill. So, what's going on there? I mean, I wish I knew some further information as far that I could reveal with that. So, is that going to be another Forbidden Wall breaking down? Is Impact has worked with Ring of Honor before, so that's not really anything new. But all right, now is Impact going to assume and kind of absorb the Ring of Honor title, and are they going to have Ring of Honor matches in Impact? That's going to be interesting to see. I think that would be pretty cool. Right now, as it is, there aren't a whole lot of wrestlers at Ring of Honor that I'm really all that enthusiastic about, unfortunately. I mean, it's not like the old days with, Seth Rollins, AJ Styles, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, on and on and on, Cesaro, etc. It's kind of thin. I mean, there's a lot of kind of indie talent in there now. Ring of Honor is not what Ring of Honor used to be. I mean, Ring of Honor never had good production value, which is surprising because Sinclair is a media company. So you'd think they'd come in and give them some credit and some what's the word I'm looking for? Some assets to work off of for that, but even after Sinclair had obtained them, they still had some pretty horrible production value and some streaming issues and whatnot. So you can't really, you can't really look at that as something. That's kind of weird. I wouldn't have thought that, but if you hear running water in the background, it's just I think that's someone in the bathroom next to me. But yeah, you can't really look at that Sinclair ownership as doing them a world of good, because all they really did was drive them into bankruptcy. Sinclair, what you would have thought, like I said, being a media organization, they would have upped the production value of Ring of Honor, but they really didn't. If anything, they kind of just drove them into the ground because, like I said, they lost any real wrestlers of any pedigree. Like I said, the Bryan Danielsons, the AJ Styles, the Seth Rollins, Cesaro's, list goes on, the Samoa Joes, CM Punks, yada, yada, yada. Those were long gone. And it was kind of, Ring of Honor was starting to look like a glorified indie promotion. Because all these, they didn't have any exclusive contracts, so all these other wrestlers were just showing up everywhere they could. So, I don't know. Where does the Ring of Honor go from here? I guess the other question is, has Impact acquired Ring of Honor? I guess would be the next logical question. I don't know the answer to that question. That's something we're going to have to kind of wait and see. But some really cool things happening in wrestling. Really cool things happening in football. So it's an exciting time to be watching, listening sports entertainment and sports in general. So it's going to be really interesting. I think we're going to have a really cool Super Bowl. I mean, my predictions, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be a Chiefs, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl, to tell you the truth, with the Packers winning. I don't see anybody beating them right now. And the NFC, it is kind of lopsided right now. There's not really a balance of power. AFC, it could be almost anyone. It's really a crapshoot at this point. Could the Raiders beat the Chiefs? Oddly enough, it could happen. On any given day, they've done it. So it's possible. Do I think it'll happen? Probably not. I mean, is Rich Bisaccia the answer at head coach? I don't know. You know, time will tell. He's never been a head coach before, so he's an amazing special teams coach. The players love him, but strategically, is he the guy to go with? I mean, he did make some weird calls in the game last night, but can we blame that on Greg Olson offensively? He had some weird calls and he had some interesting calls that with bringing in Mariota in, and he had some stuff that just didn't work out, where he ran the same option twice in a row with once with Mariota retaining the ball, once with I think King off the Renfro, and he got squashed for a loss behind the line of scrimmage. So only time's going to tell him that, because like I said, this guy's never been a head coach before, but he seems to be a character guy, and the players have nothing but great players, and coaches, I should say, have nothing but really great things to say about him. So time will tell, and we'll wait and see how that all pans out. But you know, go Raiders, go Titans, and it's going to be an interesting year in football, and what a way to celebrate the life of John Madden. But you know, that's pretty much all I got for wrestling, though. We got a lot of unknowns right now in wrestling. We got a lot of storylines that need to be wrapped up, and some interesting things that could happen. So let's on that note, let's kind of start bringing things to a close, because that's about all I have to offer at this point. But before I do that, you know, thank you guys for listening. You know, if you want to purchase some of my merchandise, you can go to crushingkayfabe.com, crushing with a K, crushingkayfabe.com, or you can go to Jaygerr, JAYGERR.com, and you can purchase some of my music, listen to my music, kind of check out my tour dates, see where I'm going to be next. Right now, I don't have a whole lot scheduled, thanks to COVID, unfortunately, but we'll work on it, and you'll be seeing some things down the road, because, like I said, I got an album coming up very shortly, and it's going to that's going to be on sale very soon. But I've still got drum tracks that need to be added to a couple of songs, and the artwork and all of that needs to get done. So that's kind of holding that up. But you'll be seeing that soon. And let's see. We talked about crushingkayfabe.com. We talked about jaygerr.com. How about our Patreon page? If you want to listen to us ad-free, you can go to patreon.com, patreon.com, and you can sign up for a membership, which is only $1. And with that membership, you get ad-free audio, and you will get some additional extras in the future. So if you want to support the show, that's one of the great ways to do it. You know, if you have $1 that's burning a hole in your pocket, go to patreon.com. In addition to that, I'd like to give a shout out to Lucky Lady Candles. I've purchased their stuff in the past. It's really good. So check them out on Facebook and on Etsy. And my next plug will be for Then and Now, which is Then and Now Flea Market, downtown Trenton. And if you go there, you can actually purchase one of my CDs, or you can purchase some handmade items from my wife that are some really cool jewelry and whatnot. We're going to bring down some stuff today, hopefully, to some additional merchandise to stock some things up. And in addition to our stuff, they have some great products from other vendors, and some of it's new, some of it's handcrafted, some of it's used. You know, you can find a mixed bag of everything there. It's a really great store, and pretty much offers everything you need right there. So check them out. Then and Now Flea Market, downtown Trenton, Tennessee. And with that, I think that's going to be about it for today. So thank you for listening. Everybody be safe. And I hear my dog clawing at the door, so he's telling me it's time to go. So thank you for listening. Be safe out there. Everybody, Happy New Year once again, and God bless.